Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. A man's heart plans his ways, but the Lord determines his steps. It's one of those verses in Proverbs that has caught my attention every time I've read it. And honestly, it's in Proverbs 16, which is out of order for me today, but it's come up twice in my devotionals. So I thought I'd talk about it today. A man's heart plans his ways, but the Lord determines his steps. What's that supposed to mean? And the fact that it's come up every time I've read it and impressed on me that it's important tells me there's something in it that is critical. And so I thought I'd share with you my insight on this thought process. I often have conversations with individuals who are struggling in one area of their life or another. Whether it be drugs, alcohol, eating, exercise, anger, work, I don't care what it is. And oftentimes I will ask them, all right, so what's your plan? What's your plan the next time this situation comes up? What's your plan? Or, today is going to be really difficult. What's your plan? And I make them talk to me about what they're going to do and how they're going to handle things. And I listen, and I listen closely. And I say, okay, I'll be praying that works well for you. And then a few days later, I'll follow up with them. And I'll ask them how it went. And sometimes it goes well. But most of the time, they come back with a less than desired response. Something didn't go right, whatever it is. And they're often surprised with my response. Because I tell them, and unfortunately I knew that it probably wasn't going to work out. And they'll often say, well, why didn't you tell me? Because it wouldn't do any good. Everybody wants to be able to create a plan and work through the problem in their life. The reality is I've never been able to do that. And while I might be able to make it happen once or twice, it doesn't work continuously. And the reason is when you have a plan has to be flexible. There are things that are always going to come up, and a plan has to flex with the environment around it. You have to be able to make things move to make a plan work. But if you have movement in a plan, there are multiple points of failure. And it doesn't last long. Now, we can talk about planning events and things like that at another time, but I'm talking about life in general. Solomon says, a man's heart plans his ways, but the Lord determines his steps. When we plan, it has to be flexible, and it's subject to change and subject to failure. But God determines our steps. And so this is what I'm going to tell you. If you want to have success in your life, it's not about the plan. It's about the decision. If you want to be sober, you decide that no matter what the cost, I'm going to stay sober. And if I find myself in a position where I'm going to fail, no matter the cost, I'm going to stay sober. I will give up everything I have to stay sober. And when that's the final decision, you find that you have only one path forward. That's stay sober. It comes down to putting God first. I'm going to stay focused on God, and I'm going to accomplish X, no matter the cost. So a variable comes in. I'm going to stay sober, but the dealer shows up at my... Sorry, guys. My phone is ringing. So, the dealer shows up at your house, or your phone rings, and you've already decided, I'm going to stay sober. But if you have a plan that you're not going to reach out to the dealer, then the dealer shows up at the house, there's a variable that is missing. You make a plan the next time. This is what I'm going to do if the dealer shows up. And then somebody else shows up first and you're at the door when the dealer walks up, and they just kind of wait for the other person and you're stuck again. Plans always have the flexibility. But when you say to yourself, I'm not going to use no matter what, that means when the dealer shows up, you look them in the eye and you say, I'm not using, go away. And when they press you, your answer is, I'm not using, go away. And when they press you and tell you you owe them, you say, I don't care, I'm not using, go away. I don't care if you shoot me. These are the things that we really need to deal with in our lives. So when it comes down to it, and we read things in the Bible, sometimes we make it way too complicated. A man's heart plans his ways. Plans are flexible. But the Lord determines his steps. Let's stay strong today. I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. God bless.